Hello, I'm Bay Mudd, and here is everything I took to a live set last week, along with a few things I probably shouldn't have, as today we're talking about what not to do when prepping for a live electronic performance. I recently had the pleasure of being asked to open a night of live electronic music and learned a few lessons the hard way. Consider this a checklist for myself for next time, but I thought it might be helpful for you too as we look at what gear to bring and how to set yourself up for a better set overall. First and foremost, choosing what gear you're going to use live is huge. That probably seems obvious, but things try to sneak in there and you have to be smart. It may surprise you, but I like gear and I'm thankful to have a lot to choose from. For live sets, I usually try to stick with what I know best, which is why I usually build the setup around my Synthstrom Deluge. Though it can be hard to resist adding the newest thing. Case in point, this is the latest iteration of my live rig, which I went through in detail on my last live stream, and eagle-eyed viewers will notice it includes both my newly acquired Simple Touch 2 and the workshop system. But Mr. Mudd, didn't you just get both of those? Could you have had enough time to really work them into your set? You're absolutely right. Including both of these was pretty foolish, and they were only really there because I was excited to learn how to use them and convinced myself that counted as rehearsing for the set. So repeat this with me. Learning new gear does not count as rehearsing your live set. New gear is fun, and you do have to put in work to learn it, but if that's happening a week before your set, maybe consider not bringing that item this time. In my case, I at least relegated the Simple Touch to an easy vocal loop at the start, then didn't really touch it much, and ended up not using the workshop system at all for fear of going off the rails. Those were probably safe decisions in the moment, but I had still already spent time packing them for the gig and setting them up at the venue, not to mention the mental energy of trying to work them in, which was all effort that could have been spent elsewhere. So ask yourself, do I need this for the set, or am I just excited about it? Now, in my case, I also ran the extra risk of running an experimental Deluge firmware for the set, which worked, but I consider that getting very lucky. The same rule applies. Testing new firmware isn't rehearsing. Rehearsing is running through your actual set. That's it. Do that. Next, let's talk setting yourself up for success. I think it was Mike Tyson who said, everyone has a plan until they realize there are no monitors and they can't hear anything. Not every venue will have things like monitors, mic stands, or whatever else you may expect, so it's in your best interest to be as self-sufficient as possible. In this case, I thought I was covered by having brought this cheap old pair of headphones to check with, but the bass buildup in the room was much stronger than expected, and I couldn't hear as well as I would have liked. Going forward, I'll be looking into some in-ear monitor solutions to help make sure I'm covered. Feel free to give me some recommendations in the comments. And now a topic I've touched on before, but still have a hard time finding the right balance with, and that's feeling the need to build everything up live. It's fun to build everything from scratch, but it can also be a drag on momentum if things are looping while I take too much time creating a brand new beat that could have just been prepped in advance and triggered when needed. In this context, I believe the crowd doesn't necessarily care if it's all built from scratch in front of them, as long as it sounds good and the performance is still engaging somehow. It can also help to have a few things pre-prepared for those cases where your overstimulated, anxious brain kicks into high gear and you lose focus. But maybe that's just me. And of course, this all ties into expectations. A 30-minute opening ambient set in a small venue is a chance to play, try some things, and have fun. So don't blow it out of proportion. Enjoy it. Remember to breathe, slow down. You've rehearsed, and hopefully for real, not just trying to learn new gear, so it will all come out naturally. For my recent set, when I couldn't hear as well as I wanted or got a bit flustered, I just fell back to what I knew best anyway, the tried and true tactics that didn't require untested firmware or new toys. So all of that was a distraction from what could have been more productive prep time. Also worth mentioning that after the set, it's easy to dwell on what went wrong, but it's just as important to focus on what worked. Like, sure, my set could have been smoother, but I also did try a few new things I had been wanting to do live, including more vocals, so that was a win. So to recap, for my next live set, I'm going to keep the following in mind. Make sure rehearsals are actually rehearsals, not just learning new toys I'm excited about that week. Be in control of my setup and bring everything I might need. Better monitoring for me in this case. Balance live play with prepared elements for optimal momentum and engagement. And remember just to have fun and keep expectations reasonable. Does any of this ring true for you, or do you have any tips for live set prep? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.